Welcome, everyone. This is week 3 of National Preparedness Month. I'm Aiden Taylor, the Executive Director with Clay County CERT, and joining us today for Prepare for Disasters is Gina Namay with Volunteer West Virginia, and she is the Disaster Services Coordinator. Welcome, Gina, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Aiden. Appreciate you having me on here today.
No problem. We're glad to have you. And as everyone knows, last week joining us was Kathy Slim, and we discussed building a kit and what type of materials go inside of that. And today we're going to discuss why it's important to prepare for disasters, how you can do it, and other resources you can find to better prepare yourself, your family, and your community. So right here is the Ready.WV.G page with awesome resources, and Gina's going to discuss those now.
Thank you, Aiden. Yes, being prepared for disasters is important because during a widespread disaster, first responders can't get to everybody at once. They may have limited access. There could be downed trees, flooding, and they can't get to you in time. So if you prepare for yourself and your family, prepare your home, you'll be in a much better position to recover from a disaster. On Ready.WV is our preparedness campaign, and we have a website. As you see here, we provide a lot of information and resources to help families and communities to prepare for disasters. And I'm just going to talk about some of the aspects and resources that we have on the website. Our spotlight, as you see, highlights important disaster information in West Virginia at the time. There is, as you see, there's a West Virginia school systems COVID reentry plan. There's a link to that so you can see the state's plan and the coding, the mapping, and the color codes. There's also a spotlight, if you can move it one forward, that shows COVID-free testing. The state offers free testing around in different counties, rotating throughout each month. And so if you go to that link and spotlight, you'll see the latest testing. You don't have to have symptoms, and it is free. The other thing that we have, if you see on the right-hand side of the website, is current news. We post daily state and national disaster news there. So you can click that and find different news articles related to not only COVID, but other disasters that are happening within the state or in the country. Thank you. So if you go back to the home page, if you close that out and go back to the home page, we have other features that you can see. Down in the bottom, we have 3 squares at the bottom, West Virginia hazards. You can look at that. There's a list of hazards here in West Virginia, but also different hazards that impact the country. And you can look at each one and find ways to be prepared for that. One of the hazards that West Virginia is prone to is flooding. So you could click on that one and learn a lot of information about how to be prepared for floods. You know, if you live in a flood-prone area and you own a home, one of the things people don't realize is that regular homeowners does not cover flood insurance. Flooding. So you have to get separate flood insurance coverage. There's also cybersecurity, which that affects everyone, being safe online, and power outages are common to everyone. So those are some of the things that you can look at and get tips on how to be prepared for those particular disasters.
You mentioned individuals and households that are in a flood zone. It's important that if you don't know if you're in a flood zone, you have 2 options of figuring out if you are. You can contact your local floodplain manager or emergency management office, or you can use the West Virginia Flood Tool and type in your 911 address, or physical address and search your location and see if you're in the floodplain, and it will prompt you for more information about how to acquire flood insurance and different flood safety techniques.
That is a great tip, Aiden. Thank you. So if we go back to the Ready homepage, Ready, West Virginia, there's also a list of emergency contacts at the bottom. If you scroll down, there's a such as poison control. There's a yes, this is the full page of various emergency contacts that you may need at some point. A spill line. There's a link when you said your county emergency management information. Each county in West Virginia has an emergency management office. And you can click that and find yours. And I would encourage folks to follow them on their social media sites if they have one. Call and ask, do they have social media sites so that you can follow and get up-to-date information. The other thing, since we're here talking about emergency management, to help stay informed during emergency, find out what your county's alert system is. They may have something that you have to sign up for and get, like email or text alerts. And there's some other alerts that are just automatic. There are the robo, like the automatic callback features that some counties have for landline phones. So check with your county emergency management agency and see what alert systems they use, and definitely sign up for those so that you can be informed in an immediate time. And if you go back to the main page again, we have another section on recovery. So these are tips on what to do after a disaster. Say you were flooded or your home's been damaged. These are tips on cleanup, safety precautions, different things that you should think about and do during recovery. The other thing I'll mention here is know your rights. The Legal Aid of West Virginia provides free information on understanding your rights as a homeowner or a renter, your rights if you have insurance or have difficulty with other things when you're claiming disaster damage. So they are a very good resource. Another thing I can mention is connecting with your family. I know that the Red Cross has a program called Safe and Well. That's something you can sign up for, that in case your family members get split and you are unable to contact each other, this is a central place where you can report in that you're okay, and that other family member can call in and they can find out and see that you've reported it okay. I'm not sure exactly how that program works, but it's very helpful, especially if people are separated and there's no modes of communication available. So we can go back to the home page and
Gina, I don't know if you're having technical difficulties.
I am. There it is. Okay. So what are the basic ways you can just get started? All of this may seem overwhelming, but if you go to our website and click resources and go to our personal prep toolkit, and Aiden, if you would take us there, I'll go over that. Yeah, the personal prep. And here it is. So you can start out by taking the little 10-question quiz to see how prepared are you. And this will get you started thinking, do I have these resources? Have I taken these steps? And this will kind of give you an idea, just a quick little self-assessment. The three basic steps to being prepared are being informed, making a plan, and building a kit. So under being informed, we have a communications tip sheet that you can check out. This helps you learn ways to communicate during a disaster. Sometimes cell phones and all that, the information can jam those communications, and it is quicker and less bandwidth use if you text rather than talking or calling. That's one of the tips that's on there. The other thing is knowing your alerts and warnings. This is something I've already mentioned about reaching out to your county emergency management to find out what alert systems they have and signing up for those. There's national alert systems. Most of us know about the emergency alert system where we hear on TV or the radio that alert sound. They'll do that for a little while, and then if there's an emergency, they would announce it. So that's another way that our local and state and federal emergency management workers can reach out to citizens, notifying them of an emergency. So I would encourage you to look at that fact sheet and learn about the different alert systems. Also, there's, you're going to show that a little bit. So like FEMA has, like I said, that national alert system that most newer phones have automatically. You may have already gotten those when bad weather comes through, and it'll beep at you, warning you of some bad weather. So making a plan, what does make a plan mean? Well, that's to just talk with your family about how if you had to evacuate, what you would need to do. Having those resources ready to go. If you were to have a house fire or a flood, where if family members were separated, where's that meeting place, out of town or out of your neighborhood that you can meet up and talk about, to know that you're safe. The other thing is, Aiden took us to the family emergency plan template. You can start here and keep all your important information, your work and school phone numbers, family member social security numbers, designate your neighborhood or out-of-town meeting place. Also, it's good to have an out-of-town contact, like a family member or friend that you can call to let know that you're okay, or somebody that you could stay with during an emergency. The other information you want to have on hand is your insurance information and homeowners or car or any medical insurance. So this is an online form that you can download and fill out online. It's fillable, electronically fillable, as you can see, and you can print that out and keep that in your emergency kit. Keep it in a waterproof Ziploc bag, or you can keep it electronically saved, maybe on a flash drive or something that is protected, password protected, in the cloud or in a password protected flash drive or something like that. This can go along, if you go back, with all the other critical information or documents that you might need. You might want to have a copy of your insurance statement or coverage, maybe a copy of a bank statement, or a copy of your house deed, or other important information that you want to keep on hand. And like I said, you want to keep it if it's a hard copy, keep it in a safe, waterproof, fireproof box, or keep it in the cloud and encrypted and password protected online system. So we can go back to that personal prep kit and see what else there is. So these are some small, easy steps that you can take. Just some basic things to start getting prepared and having that information collated in one place, keeping it maybe in a plastic box container. This goes along to that last step in building an emergency kit.
So Gina, you were talking about some of these really cool ways to keep your documents safe and collated in one different spot that is separate from other documents, so you can take it and go. One cool thing that's offered by Ready West Virginia is this importance document folder. You can open it, and it has a folder to keep all of your documents and include some important ones, like the How Prepared Are You quiz.
Yeah, thank you. I did want to highlight under Making a Plan, FEMA created this document called Safeguard Critical Documents and Valuables. It is a great, simple checklist. If you would bring that up and you can show folks, because you think, well, what would I need? Well, this is a pretty good extensive list of all the documents that you may need to have on hand. Because if you have evacuated, maybe your home is not inhabitable, you can't go back, you will have this stuff already in a separate file or like online and ready to go. So that is a great list of items. And I would definitely print that off or have that and make that part of that family emergency plan. And go through that checklist and see what is applicable to you and what you would need, and get those items in your kit or in a safe online system. Could be on a flash drive that you keep right there with your kit. Household identification, maybe a copy of a bill. I don't know, you can scroll down further and see financial and legal documents that you might need, like the house deed, or maybe your copy of your lease if you're renting, a copy of your car or homeowner's insurance or renter's insurance. That way you'll have the contact information for that company. You'll have your the ID number for that insurance policy. And so that is a good document that helps you to plan for disasters. We can go back, and then talking about the building your kit, we have a list of the basic list. So you can click on that, the emergency kit checklist. So this is just starting with your basics that you would need. And you could, if you don't have a kit started, you could go around your house and look for these items. A lot of these items you already have. If you have children, you can make it a fun event and have the kids take the list and do a scavenger hunt and go around the house looking for these items and putting them in maybe a duffel bag that you have, or a banker's box, or a plastic. Those nice Sterilite or Rubbermaid plastic boxes are really good to keep this in because it protects it. It's plastic. It has a lid. You can keep your important documents in that as well. And you want to have at least a 3-day supply. And something that if you have to evacuate, you can grab and go. Or if you have to shelter in place, it's right there in your home in one spot. You'll have your extra supplies if you have to shelter in place. I would highlight something, since we are in a pandemic now. During COVID, you would want to add, they have filter and dust masks. So yes, you want to have a mask, have also maybe some disinfectant wipes and other cleaners so you can stay protected during the pandemic. And that is not an exhaustive list. If you go to the federal site, FEMA, right there it says FEMA's Ready.WV.gov, they have more items that you to think about building your kit. You may want an extra change of clothes or a little blanket or other items that you might need, or some activity books if you have kids that might need something like that to keep the kids occupied while they're either stuck at home or you're on the road evacuating. So these are some of the things to consider when building your emergency kit. So we can go back, Aiden, I think that's basically the steps that we have in the personal prep tool. You can basically follow those 3 steps to help you be better prepared for emergencies.
We're all back to the homepage if you wanted to discuss something else that's there, Gina.
Yeah, I think that's basically it. We do have, if you see across trainings and events, we list those when they are up, but we always keep American Red Cross. If you go there, safety skills are always important. I would just add that CPR, keeping up with that training, Red Cross has it, and who else? The American Heart Association provides it as well. We've also listed the different trainings that American Red Cross provides. The other thing is, one of an important training would be fire safety training. So your local fire department will do that for you. You can either go there, call them up and see if they do fire extinguisher training. I know I've had a small fire in my home once. It was the toaster was on fire, and I had a small extinguisher, but I panicked. I realized I really didn't know how to use it, and I had a box of baking soda. I learned that you can't throw water on it. It's best to smother a fire, and I threw baking soda on the fire, and it went out. But I realized it doesn't do me any good to have a fire extinguisher if I don't know how to use it. So I'd encourage folks to learn to do that and have a small kitchen, because kitchen fires are the most common ones in the house.
Sure. And fire safety and using a fire extinguisher is easy. It's just practice makes perfect. Remember, pass, pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep. And that should help you. But if you ever have questions, you can always reach out to any of our organizations. We'll be able to point you in the right direction to find more training. And training doesn't necessarily have to be set at a table and go through a book. Training's also part of doing those exercises. And you should also exercise your plans and using your kit to make sure that you, your family members, children are all a part of the plan and the response factor. And next week, for week 4, which will end our National Preparedness Month for 2020, we'll be bringing on someone from West Virginia's emergency management, and they're going to be talking about youth preparedness. So I encourage everybody to come back for then. They'll have a lot of cool information about how to include your children in preparedness so that generations to come can also be a part and prepare. We have 2 comments here, and we're going to go ahead and put those up here. It's Dana Bryant from Ready, West Virginia, and she says, "Hi, Gina and Aiden." Hi, Dana. How are you?
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. And then we also have Dana again, and she says that she loves Ready, West Virginia.
Oh, great. Thank you. I would add to please follow us on our Facebook and Twitter at Ready.WV, and keep up to date with prep tips and current disaster information.
Yes, that's great information. If the viewers will look down at the bottom, it has at Ready West Virginia, which is the handle for Facebook and Twitter. There's a lot of great information. Social media is a good way to keep in touch with your local and state emergency resources. It's frequent and constantly updated, and you can always go back to look at past alerts to learn more. And then I'll also put up here on the top there two websites. You can go to Ready.WV.gov or Ready.WV.gov and ClayCountyCert.org for more information and how to get started or be pointed in the right direction for more preparedness information. And with that, I would like to thank all of our viewers. If anyone has any more questions, go ahead and post those in the comments and someone from our team will get back to them. I encourage everyone to join us again for week 4, which is involving youth in emergency preparedness. I would like to thank you for joining us, and everyone stay safe and be prepared. Thank you, Gina, for joining us as well.
Thank you, Aiden.